If life has been feeling a little bit more chaotic than usual, it's actually a really good thing. Chaos just means that you're taking your life to the next level with old systems that used to work, but they simply do not work with the goals and the version of you that you want to become. Hi, my name is Jasmine, and on this channel, we talk all about becoming the woman of your dreams and building a life that you absolutely love. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the ultimate 5-week guide to living a chaotically organized life so you can do it all. If you are someone who is ambitious but is completely overwhelmed with all the things that you want to do, then this video is made just for you. I've also included chapters for this video so you can skip around. You can also find the timestamps in the description below. And if you are somebody who's ready to do the real work, I'm not just talking about watching these videos, but actually transforming. I provide worksheets for every single one of my videos. In these worksheets, I provide journaling prompts as well as practical exercises so you can start removing your limiting beliefs and to write out an action plan so you can start living out as your highest self today. You can access these worksheets down in the description below. Now let's dive into the video. Before we hop into designing our productivity system, we first need to understand where we are currently struggling. We need to start off with pre-work. So step 1, let's understand your current situation. I want you to take 1 week to simply observe your habits and patterns. This could be time leaks. Where are you losing your time? Are these hours lost on social media? Are they unnecessary meetings? Are they just people that drain you? Or do you spend all of this time getting overwhelmed with all the things that you need to do? The second thing is overcommitment. Do you say yes to way too many things at once and it leaves you feeling burnt out? Do you truly have the bandwidth for it? Or are you simply saying yes and you're burning yourself out in the process? The last thing is lack of prioritization. Not all tasks are made equal, but when you treat every task like it's made equal, there are going to be certain tasks that are draining you, like admin tasks, because as we all know, admin tasks only keep us from where we are, right? But when we are doing creative work, when we're doing work that actually expands and moves our life forward, those are big impact tasks. You need to understand that there's only so much time in our hands and that we need to start being very selective with how we choose to use our time. Having this awareness and studying yourself and observing your unconscious self, making decisions on default can be such a big turning point for you because you will realize how much that you act unconsciously based on your mood or based on urges or triggers that you have. But if you allow those disruptive subconscious behaviors to drive your life will not change. Your life will stay exactly where it is right now. So instead of blaming yourself and being mad at yourself, this is where we're going to take charge and we're going to identify where those pain points are. A lot of people are going to skip this step, but I'm telling you, if you implement this step for just 1 week, studying yourself and understanding your patterns, you will be able to design a much better productivity system that works for you. Step 2 is to define your productivity philosophy. This is the part where we're asking why. What is your intention? What is your purpose of designing a new productivity system? For me, having a productivity system means that I get to achieve long-term goals without burnout. I get to focus on deep, meaningful work. I get to make time for personal growth, relationships, and health. So let's talk about you. What is it that you're seeking for on the other end? If your answer to this question is to just be able to get as much done as possible, this will be a never-ending cycle. You will constantly have things to do. You will constantly have business deals to close. You will constantly have books you need to read. You'll constantly have videos you need to post. But if there is no end in sight, then what is the point of creating a productivity system? I am not begging for more time in my life, but I'm actually creating more life in my time. You just need to start budgeting your time in a smarter way. Now let's dive into week 1. This is your structures, goals, and keystone habits. So step 1, let's talk about creating your 12-week goals by reverse engineering your long-term vision. When we think about our 3-year goals or 5-year goals or 10-year goals, of course they're going to be overwhelming. Of course they're going to be really scary. But with this Russian doll technique, we actually are able to create a more digestible relationship with those goals. Let's start off with your 3-year goals. And I know that's a crazy long time, but who do you want to be in 3 years? What kind of business do you want to build in 3 years? How much money do you want to make? How do you want your relationship to look and feel like? How do you want your body to look and feel like? How do you envision your space to be? Your apartment, your dream house? How do you want your life to really look and feel like based on what you want? Be as specific as possible with where you want to end up in 3 years. Even if these goals don't feel realistic or possible for the time being, it's okay. Next, I want you to write down where you want to be in 1 year based on this 3-year vision. Again, be as specific as possible. Next, we're going to take it a step even further and we're going to talk about the next 12 weeks. Traditionally, a lot of people like to set 1-year goals, but 1 year from now is still a very large time frame. That means that you will still have the urge to procrastinate because 1 year from now just feels way too far. 12 weeks though? 12 weeks sounds close. And this is the part where you want to make it realistic, you want to make it possible, but you also want to make it challenging. I would choose between 1 to 3 goals, the fewer the better, because as we all know, the fewer goals that we focus on, the more likely we're going to be able to achieve them. After you've brainstormed your whole list, now I want you to narrow it down to several things that you need to do on a weekly basis or on a daily basis that will actually move you forward. Step 2 is I want you to think about your daily top 3. Now, I know you're an overachiever, and I know that you have this temptation to write 1,000 things on your to-do list every single morning, and if you just get those things done, then you'll be able to be successful, right? But how well has that been working for you? And in fact, the more tasks you have on your list, the less likely you're gonna do any of them. This is actually a form of self-sabotage, and it's your unconscious mind trying to keep you stuck and safe exactly where you are. So how do you get more done in 12 weeks than most people do in a single year? You start with your daily top 3. Every night before you go to bed, I want you to write down a list of 3 things that you need to get done that day. Once you've written it down, just go to bed and your unconscious mind will actually help you come up with solutions and how to do it. It will actually better prepare you for the next day. When you wake up and you're getting started on your workday, focus on the hardest, most daunting task on that list first. When you accomplish that, you are going to feel this sense of dread removing off of your chest, and you're actually going to have that dopamine, that motivation to keep working and chipping away at those 2 other tasks. Step 3 is to prioritize like a psycho with Eisenhower's matrix. Not all tasks are created equal, and if you know the power of prioritization, you'll be able to get so much more done in a timely manner. So this is the Eisenhower matrix. Urgent and important is something that you should do now. Important but not urgent is something that you can schedule in the near future. Urgent but not important is something that you can delegate or systemize. Or can you also set better boundaries? If the task is not urgent or not important, then just delete it, just forget it. At the start of every single day, I want you to prioritize all of the tasks that you need to do in this matrix. Step 4 is to develop your Keystone habits, specifically your morning and evening routine. This is where you have to start setting up a routine where you're optimizing your morning and evening routines to set you up for success. Let's talk about your morning routine. Your morning routine is something that sets the tone for the rest of the day. What time do you want to start waking up? What kind of things do you want to do before your morning? Do you want to start meditating, journaling, writing, working on your dream business? What habits do you want to set in place so you can start feeling more grounded, expanded, and excited for the rest of the day? Use this opportunity to plan out your ideal morning routine. The second thing is your evening shutdown. This is the part where you're unwinding. You're telling your subconscious mind that we're arriving to the end of the day and we're ready to rest and relax. You can use your evenings to rewire your subconscious mind. You can use evenings to meditate. You can use evenings to have a bubble bath and to have a really beautiful shower with yourself. You can use this opportunity to write down tasks you want to do the next day, or to journal, meditate, visualize your dream life. Use this opportunity now to plan out your ideal morning and evening routine. Now let's hop into week 2. This is where we're going to be using our calendar as if it's our second brain. Think of this as your personal assistant that knows everything that's happening in every single minute of your life. If your plans are not written down somewhere, you're less likely to action on it. And the whole point of this productivity system is to create more space in your brain so you can do creative things. So let's start off with step 1. This is where we are designing our ideal week. Yes, life does get crazy, but we need a skeleton plan that we can fall back on. What would your ideal week look like if there were no interruptions, no chaos, absolutely nothing, and it just went exactly as you wished? Take a look at all the goals and routines that you wrote down. What feels sustainable to you? What feels energizing to you? What feels expansive? What feels like fun, but you just haven't had the time to make time for? What would make you feel like you're living your life to the fullest? Real life may not always match what you put down, but that's not the point. The whole point is that you have something to aim for, so you're not living your life on default. You're not living your life based on what you feel like doing, but instead you're doing this because you need a system to fall back on. This is especially crucial and important for someone who is constantly busy. Step 2, I love implementing themed days. Start layering in themes so it reduces decision fatigue. Some examples of these themed days are Errand Wednesdays. This is where you run errands on Wednesdays, pick up mail, do your grocery runs, or Finance Fridays. This is where you pay your bills, go to the bank, check your bank statements, pay your credit cards, and also using this time to focus on rebuilding your money mindset. Or you could implement something called Sunday Reset, where you declutter your digital space, or you clean your apartment for a little bit. You plan your meals, you plan your weeks ahead. When you have daily themes, you don't spend that time wondering, oh, what should I do today? How can I get my life in order today? When you have themes, you know what to do, you know when to do it. Step 3 is time blocking. How I like to structure my days is I like to structure it based on my own energy levels. So in the mornings, this is where I usually tackle the most daunting tasks. This is my opportunity where I'm focusing on deep work, so creative projects, strategy, anything that requires a lot of brain power out of me. In the afternoon, this is where I focus on more admin tasks, emails or errands, or just really menial tasks that doesn't require that much brain power, because your brain is usually more tired in the afternoon. Evenings is where I focus more so on rest and play. This is downtime to spend more time with family. This is downtime to recharge for the next day. You really do not need to spend 12 hours a day to be productive, but just put your phone on the side of the room and just focus on doing deep work for just 4 hours, and you'll be able to see how much more you could achieve. Week 3, we're going to be talking all about boundaries with tech and distractions. Let's talk about your phone for 1 second, because it is destroying your life and you don't even know it. It is the biggest productivity killer, and it is taking away your time, energy, and motivation throughout the day. You may initially think, I just have a discipline problem. I can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. I just don't have the motivation to do it. But the problem here is dopamine. You are depleting your dopamine by constantly consuming on social media, and to the point where you don't have energy to do hard things anymore. And you are not the problem. The problem is that your cell phone is made to wire you to keep consuming. When you have a dopamine problem, you have a motivation problem. When you have a motivation problem, therefore you have a discipline problem. Every time you hear a ping, every time you send off a DM, every time you aimlessly scroll on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you are losing your dopamine by the minute. And once your focus is gone, it can take up to 20 minutes to get back into that deep workflow state. So if your energy and focus is scattered, how can you expect yourself to have the energy to go for these big goals that you've always wanted? If you want to be chaotically organized, you need to set better boundaries with your technology. Step 1 is to live on Do Not Disturb. Only select few get to access my phone and get to access my notifications. You can personalize each DND mode so that only certain people can reach you, or only certain apps can have access to your notification settings. For example, if you work 9 to 5, personalize your DND mode so that your family can reach you, your boss can reach you, and you can set your notifications so that only certain apps can actually notify you. You can also personalize and create different DND modes for your morning and evening routines. This is usually the moment where you really want to enjoy and be in solitude, so you can focus on rebuilding your subconscious mind, being able to read, being able to fully relax. Personalize different DND modes based on the different activities that you're going to do throughout the day. Everyone else can wait. If it is urgent, they'll find a way to reach you. Step 2 is to create structured access windows with your phone and social media. Consuming social media content for hours on end can be one of the most harmful things that you can do for your brain and dopamine health. So let's talk about how we can set boundaries with our phone, especially when the world demands us to have a social media account. Quitting social media is not entirely realistic for a lot of people, especially if you use social media for your business, or if you are a content creator and you constantly need to be on social media to make a living. I totally get that, and this is why structured windows work. Now here's the rule. You are only allowed to check your app or your phone at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. So you can use this time to post, check DMs, or even to watch funny TikToks. But outside of these structured windows is where you have a hard boundary. You cannot watch funny TikToks outside of these structured windows. You cannot respond back to DMs outside of these structured windows. Even urgent messages on these platforms must wait until these structured windows. This actually helps you preserve your dopamine baseline, and it helps you feel more motivated and more energized throughout the day. Why this works is because the anticipation alone creates more dopamine. Waiting actually strengthens your discipline, which helps you be able to do hard things. Week 4, we're going to give everything a home, whether it's digital or physical. Phase 1, we're going to be doing a physical declutter. This is going to be a massive declutter. I want you to open up every single cupboard in your house. I want you to go through every single thing that you own, and I want you to ask yourself, have I used this in the past year? Do I genuinely love it enough to see it every day? Or does it add value, or does it just take up space? If you haven't worn it in a year, it goes. If it's a random cable that you haven't used for 2 years, it also goes. The rule here is that you either love it, use it, or it goes. So after you've decluttered, we're going to enter phase 2. This is where we're going to be giving every single item a home. Some examples here are keys live in the same dish by the door every single day, chargers belong in one labeled container, not scattered across your desk, papers either go in a folder or get scanned digitally and placed in a digital cloud. You need to optimize your most accessible locations for the habits that you want to implement most. So something that I'm doing right now is I actually want to make taking vitamins a daily ritual. So I'm going to put my vitamins in a place that is truly accessible. It's something that I can see every day, and I know for a fact that I will take them because they're right there. We all have that iconic junk drawer, and if you have something like that, I want you to purge it out immediately, and I want you to throw out everything that isn't sparking joy or isn't of use, because when you have that junk drawer, you're only creating more chaos, and that junk drawer is bound to grow. This phase is about removing decisions, because if every single item that you own has a home, you will know where everything is all the time, and you won't have to spend hours searching for it or constantly lose things. Phase 3 is where we're going to be diving into our digital space. So we're going to be decluttering our digital world. I am talking about the thousands of screenshots you have on your desktop or the hundreds of PDFs that you have in your downloads. So let's go through a checklist of how you can declutter your digital space. The first thing is to clear your desktop and downloads folder. Number 2 is to create clear folder structures. Work, personal, finances, creative projects, whatever is important to you. The third thing is to label all of your files properly. None of that final V3 stuff. It's really about creating a very systematic way to name all of your files. The next thing is to clean out your email inboxes. The very last thing is to separate your digital life into clear accounts. And I have 5 different email accounts based on what I'm using it for. The very first email is work and career. So this specifically is for your main source of income. The next is the subscription email. So these are promos, 10% off discounts, newsletters. You can receive a ridiculous amount of email campaigns from your favorite brands, and that could take up a lot of space in your inbox. So having a designated space to house all of those emails is the best way to stay organized. The third email is personal, so specifically for friends and family. The fourth is finances and bills. So this is the email that you link to your bank account, or this is the email that you link to your credit card provider. This is where you deal with your taxes, your invoices, your bank updates. And the very last email is for your side hustles or hobbies. This could be an email where you house all of your passion projects, your collabs, things that you are actually really excited about and helps you really tap into your creativity. Now let's finally enter week 5. This is where we're going to be tracking, iterating, and thriving in this chaos. No system is made to be perfect forever because we change, life changes, we evolve, and that means our system needs to change with us. So this step is about constantly checking in with yourself, collecting data to see what's working and what isn't working, and how we can change our systems to better match and meet our needs. It is important that you are constantly finding ways to tweak, to record your progress, to track your progress, and to see if what you're doing right now is actually creating results. habits. We are trying to build a lifestyle around our productivity system. So this step is how you're going to do it. Step 1, you need to implement weekly reflections. This is where you are going to check in and ask yourself, what were some things I did well? And what were some things that didn't go well? Did I hit my top 3 priorities each day? Or were there tasks that I've been procrastinating on? Where did distractions sneak in? What limiting beliefs got in the way? What am I setting my intention to do next week? The goal here is to be aware of your behaviors. And when you have a moment to journal and write down what are some actions that you've been taking unconsciously and being honest with yourself with that, you actually have greater power to make changes in your life. Step 2 is to experiment like a psycho. So once every 12 weeks, I want you to sit yourself down and start analyzing whether your actions are actually bringing you closer to your goals. Have you been seeing significant progress with your daily routines, or is there a better way of doing things? You can use this opportunity to come up with new tactics or new strategies, but you can also come up with new systems. If your current system is not working and your current lifestyle is just way too overwhelming, you can use this opportunity to change your system. But don't forget to collect data, because if you are constantly changing your systems, constantly changing your habits once every week or every single day, you're not going to be collecting enough data because it takes time for your actions to compound over time. So give yourself once every 12 weeks to collect enough data to know where to make changes. Step 3 is don't forget to celebrate your wins. If you reached a milestone, no matter how big or small, it is so important to acknowledge that you did that you were the one who got yourself to this point. If you finished all top 3 goals all week, celebrate. If you finally cleaned your inbox, celebrate. If you worked out for the first time in 6 months, celebrate. Every time you celebrate, it fuels consistency. If you are constantly rewarding yourself for your commitment and your drive, then your body is more likely to want to do more things that make you happy. If you only keep punishing yourself, or you don't even celebrate when you have achieved a big milestone or a small milestone, how do you expect your body and your mind to want to be on board to help you do bigger things, to help you feel more motivated? It is so important to honor yourself and to not be so hard on yourself all the time, because life is really hard. If you keep celebrating your successes and if you keep feeling grateful for where you are right now, that energy is only going to expand and it's going to attract way more success, way more joy and fulfillment into your life. And we've reached the end of this video. I would love to know in the comments down below, what is one big vision that you have for yourself? And what's the one thing you're going to do today to get there? If you are truly serious about shifting and changing your life, grab my worksheets down below, because I implement everything that I've taught in this video and help you integrate it into your own life. And if you are on the journey of becoming the woman of your dreams and building a life that you love, check out my channel, because I make a ton of videos about self-worth, love, relationships, money, career, literally all things high-value women energy. And if you love this video, I highly recommend checking out my last video, How to Reset Your Dopamine to Trick Your Mind to Doing Hard Things. In that video, I go through an in-depth plan to get your dopamine back at full capacity, so you can finally feel motivated consistently, so you can go for those big, lofty goals. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!